Hey, we're live. How's it going? Welcome, Rebekah.
Hey,
So you're not in the Facebook group. You contacted me with email, I guess.
I am in the Facebook group.
Oh, you
Yep.
are. Okay. All right. Okay. So it says your type on the screen, so that's what I know so far.
Yeah,
But
so far.
yeah. So maybe we can start maybe with your background, how you got into typology, and
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
It starts with a story with my grandma in the dog park. Uh, at a teenage age, we were walking and walking her dog. Um, and she introduced me to the idea of Myers-Briggs. And so we basically walked along and typed me as an INTJ based on
Oh,
introverted
really?
or extroverted and intuitive or sensing and the basic pop culture understanding that has been a bit watered down.
Right.
Um, and
And it worked.
from, for yeah, based on real fluke.
Well, it happens.
Um,
Flukes happen.
yeah, and from there for another 10 years or so, the the 16 personalities test has always given me INTJ as well.
Also, cool.
Other other tests have given me a variation of an OI with a TE. Um,
Okay.
and last year I got very into the Enneagram
So
and
either ISTJ or INTJ you were getting.
something like that. Yeah,
Right.
ENTJ sometimes showed up,
Okay.
and yeah. So the question of am I an introvert or am I an extrovert was kind of like, I can't balance that. It doesn't make sense that I could be full swing into being with lots of people or have to be a recluse. It was just um,
Mm.
so I needed more understanding of what was going on there. And um, so as I said, I was into the Enneagram. Um, and that became the way that I introduced myself to people and how I asked other people and getting to know them. I'd kind of interview them in a way of like trying to work out what their type was. And now, like it got a little bit annoying to start with, but now all of my friends are actually reading books for themselves about the Enneagram.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like my entire church community now want to know about it, and I was a year ahead of my time. Um, but me annoying
Okay.
them with it seemed to do some sort of difference eventually. And then yeah, I got into my mum had an interest in a Myers-Briggs thing. She was like, I'm an INFP. I was like, okay, auxiliary functions, I can deal with that. Yeah, and then just somehow I slipped into finding Dave's videos, and I've been in the class for a few months now.
Cool. And you got typed like officially as a INTJ in
Not
the class? What was it
officially,
called?
but it was Dave watched a few of my videos. He said Shan was also seeing the same thing, and he gave me double feminine, NITE, blast, play, sleep, consume, and that makes sense to me now.
It does.
Yeah,
Okay, well we'll go into it. We'll investigate a bit. So this was based on a call and the videos he was seeing or just emails?
there was emails. There was my entire YouTube channel. There was a type me series of something just happened, let me process that in front of a camera for a typing video.
Hmm.
It was overkill, it was oversharing. and and then they've had a call with me maybe a week ago now.
Okay, and they confirmed it in the call then.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I don't know how relevant it is, but I'm seeing so far. Well, we'll get into your parts, but I'm seeing so far maybe you're maybe masculine on your TE because I'm seeing a lot of feminine feelings um, in some way. So
I was suspecting movable feelings, yeah,
yeah,
before.
yeah, that's what I was seeing. Like just from the beginning, it's something that was really standing out. Sometimes parts stand out to people, and that's something that was standing out
Mhm.
to me. Yeah. Um, Okay, well, let's get into your type, your lead NI.
Mhm.
You identify with that? Does that make sense to you?
To a degree, probably at this
Nope.
point, I'm
Something's
still
going on here.
unwrapping I'm still unwrapping the layers of it, you know. But to a degree, and I see that as me always being focused on the future, focused on one particular the particular things that I can expect to happen in the future, and so it almost verges on thinking about the afterlife a little bit too much,
I
and
see.
not living my actual life now.
Right. Um, it's masculine then? You see it as masculine?
Yeah, well, I definitely have the feminine sensory.
Yeah. How do you
Um,
see that, the feminine sensory?
well, I can't keep track of time,
Okay.
and that's one anecdotal issue. But I definitely don't see the world as something that I can actually have much effect on. Um, I'm looking at a hole in the wall, and that was recently put there by my husband because he was having an issue with the computer, and his response with his masculine sensory was to, I need to create change, and therefore there's a wee bit of a dent in the wallpaper. Um, for me, though, I wouldn't dare do anything like that. The other day, I was in a coffee shop, it's in a cafe, and I was faced with a whole line of chairs and tables that were really close together, and there was actually no space to go through. And my response was, "Oh, I better walk around." I was like,
Right,
"Hang
yeah,
on, I could have moved a chair and gone through. What am I doing?"
yeah.
And at work, I have to pack boxes down, and I have to, um, and I have a boss who I think is masculine sensory. She's like, "Come on, Rebecca, smash the boxes, stomp on them, go quicker." And I'm like, "No, I have to delicately pull them apart in the way they're folded, and put them back together the way that they want to be folded." So I personify the um, the physical as well a lot.
Right. So, that would put you as, more visual, but I guess you were telling me your profession is more in music, like your schooling is in music, and you're doing music on your YouTube channel?
Yeah. Um,
So how does that work that you're visual and doing music?
um, Probably because I need to look at the music score. With notation, there's a language that you can visualize, and I was that was one of the things I was actually quite good at in my degree. Just as in the beginning classes when we were doing theory and oral, um, translating what you hear and noting it down as phrases and the crotchet language, the
Would you
um,
visualize the sounds or
yes, and every time I see a person, I visualize their name being spelt.
okay,
Yeah, that's just a thing. Um,
interesting.
but yeah, I've thought I was audio, um, because I make a lot of noise, because I focus on a lot of sound, but there's definitely a visual world inside my brain that
Okay, yeah.
drives stuff.
Um, okay, so your NI is then masculine. How do you see it, come out as non-movable?
Mm, I don't know. I see that as, I don't know, maybe I'll bring up some notes because I've started unpacking. Um, my worldview is definitely a lot set in stone. It's hard for me to change things inside of what I understand about the world, and what I understand to be the history and therefore the projection from for the future.
Mhm.
Um, and how I holistically see all time, past, future, now, as I try and picture it as one thing that is the universe.
Right.
Yeah.
So then how would maybe tell me how, like, a new fact or a new sensory information or something like that, would it come and disrupt your worldview? Would it come and disrupt what you're predicting for the future, or would it just like not like new information sort of thing from the sensory?
I think uh, I would still hold on to my I would still hold on to what I'm
Your
seeing.
vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would probably trust, like, yeah, that it looks that way, but I'm sure there's a way to explain it away. And
Right.
what I've got is still the projection. This is still
Hmm.
reality.
Does the sensory ever get really overwhelming that you have to sort of change your prediction?
Um, I'm trying to think of an example. I suppose being low sensory, I can't. Um, the only thing that I can say to that is sensory is overwhelming, as in I get sensory overload all day,
Hmm.
particularly where I work in the supermarket.
Is that
So
is that a low consume? It's a demon consume, I guess.
yes, yes, demon low consume.
Yeah.
Yep,
Consume is third for you,
fourth.
or fourth? Fourth. There you go. Last consume. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, getting overloaded by new information. So
Mm.
do you try to keep new information out? Are you avoiding it at all costs, or?
I gateway it. I give it a slow way to trickle in, and that comes with watching the same content and having it
Mhm.
explained maybe by somebody else who will slightly add a little bit of a nuance to it that I hadn't heard before. And then that when I become comfortable with that, I'll move to what else does this person have to say. So it's a game of dominoes for who I receive my information from, and they all like basically as an example, excuse me, just with on YouTube particularly, um, as people collaborate and as people mention that they heard something from another person, I'm like, okay, if you've already told me what they said, I can definitely go and hear them say it.
I see. Okay. So then is that how you got to my channel, because of a collaboration in some way, or?
I think so.
Okay.
Or maybe because like you were on the Facebook group a little bit. I definitely don't jump to watching all of somebody's videos
Right. Yeah.
until I have cut like all of a little peeks into my awareness. A few of them, but then eventually I'm like, I've seen this before. Yeah, I'll take all of it in, and
Right.
then I do just I stick with one channel consuming it all for a
Is
week.
is there a big mistrust of what you consume? Is there like, do you see consume as something dangerous if you get the wrong information, or?
Um, like I think it was Leon who said, there's a requirement to only watch what I think I need to help me for my future. I think I have a vision of who I want to be in the future and what that person knows. And I need to just put the pieces together so that I can become the person who
That person?
understands those concepts.
Yeah. Okay. And like, do you ever get concerned that maybe you're missing information then by just focusing on because, like, there's an idea that we don't know what we don't know, right? We have no idea. We're complete.
I'm very
Yeah.
aware of that. And I do understand that I can be putting myself in an echo chamber. Um, I I'm open to people sharing new information with me, as long as they're not going to make me feel like I'm an idiot and they can't teach it perhaps in a way that I can understand it. Um, if they were coming at me and saying, "No, you're so wrong. You've completely forgotten about this. You're such like
Hmm.
there's all of this that you missed," and I'm just like, "Oh, there's so much of that. I
Right.
understand. There's a whole lot of stuff I don't know."
Yeah. Does it feel like they're attacking more your understanding and less your intelligence, like more your ability to understand when they do that?
Oh no, it's personal. Um,
Yeah.
I at my beginning of understanding that interaction will be, oh no, you hate me, you want me to die, you want me and my information to go away. Yeah, sorry, that's a bit dramatic. It depends on how emotional the person seems at the time, because I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. But then afterwards, I'll realize, oh no, they just had a different opinion. And I'm definitely aware that this is how I see people, is that everybody's walking around with a different set of information, and everybody's got different preset notions and premises about reality, and we're all just responding to what logically makes sense. It just may not be sound logic, because some of us may be um, believing things that are false in some way, and it's not to attack anybody at all.
Give me an example of a false belief, for example, when you're
I think
talking
I
about
can do
true and
that.
false here. Yeah.
Oh, the things that come to mind are really sensitive. Um, oh,
Well, okay, maybe.
I could go. I could go with one that I have already fully explained on my website, in case so it can be understood.
Okay.
Um, so there's this belief that you can take the parables of Jesus and make them mean anything you want them to mean, and I think that is false. I think
Okay.
that's not what the intention was there. Um,
So the falsehood is more to do with the understanding then.
yep, yep. The
Okay.
way that you say it, uh, it's the disconnection from understanding that there was a real person who presented those ideas, and they had an intention with what they were
The
saying.
intention and the perspective. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And people today might be detached from the time and from the context, and apply their own understanding, and with using their own worldview, their own and the whole precept, all of the
Yeah.
precepts about reality.
Yeah, because I was just talking to someone yesterday who was also saying true and false, and I was trying to figure out what he meant by true and false. And for him, it was facts. It was SI facts, and people are getting, like, what's wrong is if they get the wrong facts. And so here I just wanted to sort of get at your language, what you were talking about with false, and here you're speaking more about your NI concepts. So that's sort of why I was trying to dive into that.
Okay.
And then the other thing, like I was asking earlier when you were saying if people think you're stupid, so like I'm wondering what you meant also by stupid, if that was also your NI in a way, and not maybe your TE or something.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's
So
definitely in the you've come to the wrong conclusion with those premises.
there
It's
you
like,
go.
but I had other premises that told me that made sense.
Uh-huh.
And
Right.
I don't agree with your premises. I think your premises are false. You,
Uh-huh.
you made those ones up. You didn't fact check them.
Okay, so let's talk about your TE a little bit. Are you looking for do you look for validation? Is that something that
Ping back. Yeah.
ping back? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you go deeper on that a bit?
I'm married to somebody who literally zones me out and doesn't listen. That's him, like having a
Okay.
a,
It's
a,
also
a
low
learning
consume, you
thing
think?
for him, but he's high consume,
High consume. Okay.
and I often say the same thing within the same 30-second bracket, and he'll be like, "Oh my goodness." I think he's high uni, so he just, if I'm interesting, then I'll interest him to spark another imagination somewhere else. Or if I'm boring, he'll be like, I'm gonna go somewhere else in my mind. Either
Right.
way, either way, it's really hard to get him um, to stay with me and keep listening. But for me, I will always listen to the end. I will always take all of everything that someone says. Yeah. And the validation is when I have somebody tell me, no, you've completely come to the wrong conclusion, that is like, okay, I need to deal with that. Either you're
Right.
wrong or I'm wrong. Something needs fixed here.
So like your responsibility to blast and say your conclusions that you have. I guess they're very personal conclusions. They're very like NI personal concepts that you've been cultivating over time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
everything's
And so
personal.
then when you actually go out and blast it, you want people to sort of,
Respect it.
respect it. Yeah. Yeah. And also respect your blast.
Yep.
Respect your saviors. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, so let's keep going on your TE a little bit. Just it's supposed to be feminine, but based on feminine feelings, it would be masculine. Do you
Yeah.
feel yourself being pushed? Like that would be double masculine blast if it was like that. Do you feel yourself being like really pushy on people? Pushy with the logic, argumentative?
Yeah. I do a
Yeah,
bit. But when other people push back, I don't know what to do.
I
So
see.
I get a little bit stuck there in first I have to understand, well, what are your premises? How can we deal to the falsehood that's inside of your mind that you can then come to understand, yes, I am actually right. Like, it might take a
Right.
long process or it might actually be just I always see that as being it's gonna be take a long time. It's gonna be complicated. We're gonna have to reset your entire understanding of reality before you'll be on board with me.
Right.
So like I'm only 23, almost 24, but I am I still haven't got a lot of experience with doing that with people, and I know I need to definitely not be pushy. That's not something I want, at least.
Well, it's like it's a useful. Also, it's useful to be pushy sometimes, but
Mm.
it's good to be able to turn it off, like to have a little more control over it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yeah. So that would give you an F so your FI that would make it feminine then? Like does that resonate more with you?
Um,
Or would it be more masculine?
I do see myself wanting to put my identity where other people want me to be.
I see.
I definitely cry with every emotional movie. I definitely I struggle when I'm not on the same wavelength as another person who is experiencing another emotion. Um, I kind of put that down to apathy, but it's really like I have struggled in the past of like I'm not feeling what you're feeling, and
Hmm.
obviously it's not happening to me. I'm not the one who's struggling. I'm not the one who's emotional, and I see another person who is emotional, and I'm like, whatever you're feeling, it's not inside me, and I'm not. So I can't help. I don't understand in that
Hmm.
respect, and I've had to learn it's not my responsibility to just feel people's feelings with them. Um,
It's not your responsibility to feel people's feelings with them. What does that mean?
um, it means that, well, I suppose that's I that I need to actually help them through the problem, not sit there with them. It's really hard for me when people do want to sit there through the problem. Just sit there and be. I do want to get things fixed. I do want to sort the problem out. Um, yeah, I see grief and just any natural response to things going badly is like, okay, we'll take the time. Let's write it at a laundry list first. This is going to require some time to sit down with these emotions, and then we're going to need a solution, and we're going to move on and go and do that thing. And I'm trying to I'm making this list, and actually what I'm doing is I'm avoiding starting and doing the process of feeling it. trying to just my goodness, the word escapes me. Being over intellectualizing the issue rather than actually being present.
Mm-hmm. What are some of your core, like what's core to your values? What's core to what's most important in your life? Are you able to sort it out into a hierarchy? Do you know what's important to you?
I know that truth and honesty is definitely one of my biggest things. Truth, God, righteousness, and my purpose and growth throughout my life. Those things.
What about what about taste in things, like your taste in music, your taste in movies?
I can't describe it. I think the words are. I probably haven't spent too much time thinking about it.
Right. So you don't have a hierarchy of your tastes, maybe even food or pastimes or activities or even people.
I just have the things I like, and they sit clustered together. They're not like.
Can you list a few of them? Are you aware of
Um,
them?
like my interests.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in typology, and biblical history and theology.
Yeah, these are interests. Yep.
I like cats. I like hot chocolate.
Okay,
I
there we go.
like my mum.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I definitely feel like the uncomfortable vibe coming off when you're going into this zone here. Like
Yeah,
it's
I've
it's demon
struggled,
feelings.
and that demon, if I has been like, please don't let other people know that you like your husband. Please don't let. I've struggled with like, oh no, I married him. Now it's legal, and everyone's like understanding. This is the guy. She likes him. She's even in love with him. I'm like, oh no, I don't want people knowing. So
Right.
really, yeah, it's been people won't understand. It's like I've got to have some reasons to explain that. I don't know how to explain it. I need I'm just like, yeah, I'm afraid of feelings in that way.
Yeah, it's okay. And then the SE, you were talking about maybe some difficulty getting through some technical aspects, like you have
With my
a
music.
goal, a vision, and then we talked a bit about your SE, but maybe like how, like, what's holding you back from attaining your vision? Like, do you think too much in the future and you forget about the here and now? Is there something like that going on?
Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. I suppose I'm aware that I need to be present, and so I've had some time working on that. But the only thing that I've come up with in the last week or so, thinking about my low SE, is I went to understanding the brain and a little bit of neurology, and I immediately went to, oh my goodness, my temporal lobe has issues. I'm having hallucinations. But legitimately, there are some things that I'm like, how do I explain that? It all seems like things that are like hallucination disturbances, and I'm not able to otherwise explain them, obviously, because I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm not an expert in neurology.
Mm-hmm.
With I get sensory overload on a daily basis with not being at home. Whenever I'm fine when I'm at home, but when I go to work, there's people, there's smells, sounds, and all sorts of things to deal with, and that becomes really it just turns on my anxiety. I just I just get stuck, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how do I deal with
Mhm.
that? Um,
What about when it comes time to actually put into action your plan to get to the plan? Do you know where to start? Would you rather just go back into planning and avoid the actual doing, or?
Here's an example. I am supposed to go and get some groceries and fill the cupboards, have our house actually full with food.
Mhm.
My response to that was to spend time writing a menu, and I put that on the fridge. That's what I did. I planned, hey, these are the things that we typically eat, and so I literally, it's beautiful. I have this I have this menu now, and I can be like, okay, we need to have dinner. What are we going to have? Point to something. I'll go and get those things and make that. Um, those are my known my known dishes that I am able to make, and but I haven't actually gone out into the grocery store where there is actually all of that chaos to deal with. I've
Right.
actually
Yeah.
avoided it yet.
And so when you're avoiding it, what are you doing? You're going back into the planning, or you're consuming, or what?
Maybe consuming.
Yeah.
Um, like trying to, I definitely don't want to do something I don't understand how to do it. When I first started my job, the first couple months at least, it was horror. Just because I didn't know what I was doing, and there wasn't an instruction manual that I could have read previously, that I could have prior understanding to. Um, it's just little, it's just basic things like how do I count drinks to know how many to bring into the store from out back, and where are the drinks when they're out, but they're on the shelves, just the layout of everything, and
Mhm.
the timeline throughout the day of my tasks. It was something that I had to piece together myself, and I was really hoping that I could just have somebody else's instructions to follow, and that because I understand, like, when I'm somebody else's employee, they should have things the way that they want them to be done. But there wasn't any of that communication of, yes, we like things to be done this way. It was just kind of, do it the way that gets it done.
Right.
Basically, I was like, oh no, I have to work that out for myself, and I didn't like that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. There's a few things going on there. Like there's the fact that that no one is taking responsibility for the blast to inform you, to teach
Mm,
you. Yeah.
mm,
And that's something that you yourself would be responsible to do, and you would have done in their place.
yep.
Um, there's also the lack of the what and the how and the actual, because they say that like intuition is more the why, and the sensory is more the what. and
Hmm.
and so you were talking about like where the drinks are and that
Mm,
sort of stuff. Yeah. So yeah, there's a few things going on there. um so like how long does it take for you to get used to this sort of chaotic job, and at the same time, once you're used to it, is it something that you can keep doing and enjoying, and you wouldn't want to change?
yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's me. Um, I'm worried about the next time I start a new job, how long it's going to take.
Hmm.
Um, but I also know that if I can get through the chaos at the first few months, I definitely become more comfortable, and I can repeat the same thing every day. Not necessarily every day, but every week is the same.
Hmm.
And I don't have any problems with that at all. My husband's been like, "Oh, you've been there a few months. Why don't you go try get another job?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about? No, I'm fine.
Right.
I'll do it. I'll do it for the rest of my life. I don't."
Yeah. Okay. So you're also put as energy dominant. Do you see yourself really conscious about your energy needs, your energy
Yeah,
expenditures? Do
yeah.
you have something prepared on that?
I definitely am aware that I've only got a limited amount of time in the day and a limited amount of energy. I haven't thought of it as energy. I've thought about it as time, and um, and I need to spend my time wisely, and that comes into my consume, putting the guard on that as well. Like I need to take in the information that's necessary, and I don't want to just watch or spend time doing nothing in the means of really got nothing done, even though you actually did something. I want to avoid that sort of stuff going on.
Can you maybe clarify a little bit?
I just mean not doing things that waste time. I don't want to waste time.
I see. So do you see, like, when you're in sleep, do you see that as wasting time and the planning, or you see that as like something that needs to be done in order to
a necessary
enjoy?
process? I see.
Right.
As I understand it, my sleep is when I'm doing my songwriting. It's when I'm doing my journaling. It's when I make videos and listen back. It's when I am learning to understand myself and how I basically, and it's the identity stuff.
Right.
I see that
Well,
as a
also
hobby.
preserving energy, like figuring
Yeah,
out efficient ways to get things done rather than actually getting them done.
yeah. Well, I thought that I thought that I was lead consume, um, but
Really?
just because I spend a lot of time consuming stuff, but that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that I'm taking in new information, and that doesn't mean that I want to learn it for myself. That most of the time, it's I need other people to tell me what they know. Um, and it's funny because I get ASMR when I have a one-on-one teacher just share what they've learned or whatever, that they're just gifting that to me, and I don't have to read the book. I don't have to do stuff. So I can't. It's funny because I definitely peacock on the consume. There's a couple of just videos that I've put on my Facebook feed in the last year, and they've been, oh look, here's my haul of things that I purchased. It was really hard for me to do that. Like there was a clothing one, and then there was a whole lot of books. I was really excited that a whole lot of books arrived at the beginning of the year, but the thing is I haven't read them. They were trophies to show, hey, I already consumed as much as I could get from the lectures of the people explaining their research. Now I have this book just as some sort of reference or some sort of physical thing I can put on my shelf, and people are like, oh, so you've read that book? I'm like, no, I haven't actually read the book, but I know the content because the audiobook
Mhm.
or because other stuff.
Thank you very much for everything, for coming out. Is there something you want to promote, your YouTube channel, or?
Yeah, I've got my YouTube channel. If people are interested in my journey as just being an INTJ, that's kind of the trajectory of where that's going. Otherwise, I do have
It's
a
not music?
music. Yes, it is a lot. There's music there, and that's where I
Mhm.
post my music.
Okay.
Should I be writing any new stuff? I have a
Okay, so
website. Otherwise, uh,
yeah, so
uh,
we'll put the website in the description, and do you want to talk about your website a little bit?
yeah, the website is where I post my more of the logic side. That's where I am actually spending more time. But I write hobby essays about theology and stuff like that. So
Theology. Okay.
um, and
Um,
and
and
dreaming. I
great.
do.
Do you also have like a final message or something that you want to say before we sign off?
Sure. Just understand that when you have a disagreement with people, that you may be seeing different things, and that it may be just a difference of personality. It's not necessarily that anyone's trying to do evil. It's just that we see things differently. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much, Rebekah. Have a good
Right.
one. Bye, YouTube.